Baruch, good morning, Rabbatai. We'll start discussing the halachot of the Kriyat Megillah. The Shulchan Aruch writes in Siman Tav Reish Pei Tet, Hakol chayavim bikriyatan anashim, nashim, gerim, avadim, shuchrim, menchachim et haktanim lekota as well. So everybody's chayav, unlike we spoke about Parshat Zachor, which we said is a chumrah for women to come and hear it. Over here, it's a chiyuv, it's an obligation for men, for women, to hear the Megillah. And the reason why women are also obligated is because they were also part of the miracle of getting saved from getting killed by Achashverosh and all and that whole Gzeira. So therefore, they're also part of the miracle, and they must hear the Megillah ben bayom v'ben balayla at the evening, and then the next morning as well. The chiyuv can be fulfilled anytime at night. It doesn't have to be fulfilled right at nightfall. And also can be filled anytime in the morning. There's an idea of Zrizin Magdimin the Mitzvot to do it at the earliest time, but it technically can be fulfilled the entire day. So even if what most people are that have children, they're not able to come together with their wives because someone needs to stay home with the kids. So most places, like our place over here, B'ezrat Hashem, we will be having two readings, one earlier and one a little later for women that can switch with their husbands, so their wives can come, and everybody should make sure that their wives are hearing the Megillah just like they are hearing the Megillah. Now, there's another very important halacha when it comes to Kriyat Megillah. We have three brachot balayla. We have She'asa Nisim al Mikra Megillah and Shechiyanu. And during the day for Sfaradim we only have two. We don't say Shechiyanu during the day. We rely on the one that we said at night. And Ashkenazim say Shechiyanu again during the day. Now, it's very important to realize that the halacha is that a person needs to hear every single word of the Megillah in order to be yotzeh. Unlike, let's say, Kriyat Torah, where it's a chiyuv on the chazan to say every word, but it's not a chiyuv on me to hear every word, or other things. Right over here, it's a mamash, an obligation, and you're not yotzeh. If you miss one word, you are not yotzeh your chiyuv, and you have to go hear it again. So how does a person, and it's a long time, it takes 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes it can take. Therefore, a person has to be very careful to pay attention and to focus while the chazan is reading. What I personally do, what I think works for me, is keeping my finger on the place and following along with the chazan. Now, even if a person is using a chumash or a printed Megillah, not a Megillah on klav, he should follow along, he shouldn't read along, the Shulchan Aruch tells us. But if he misses a word, meaning if he starts spacing out, or he sneezes and he doesn't hear a word, or he, for whatever reason, misses a word, whatever he missed, he can quickly read it and catch up to the chazan, and he's still good, he's still okay, up to half of the Megillah. This is based on the fact that the Shulchan Aruch tells us, if a person has a Megillah which is half missing, half of the Megillah is not there, it's not written there, and the chazan needs to read it ba'al peh, he's still yatsa. So from there the poskim explain that if the Megillah itself, the Megillah that a person is being yotzeh from is missing words, so for sure I can make up words from a chumash as well, and it's not going to be a problem. So, but that's very important that if a person does miss words, in order to save himself, to quickly read the words that he missed from the whatever the printed chumash or whatever he has in front of him, the cloth that he has in front of him, whatever he has in front of him, to make up the thing. If he misses a few words and he cannot read it, then he has to just go and hear it again at a later reading in order to be yotzeh the mitzvah. It's a very important halakha to keep in mind. Good morning. Another important, few more important halachot about the Kriyat Megillah. We said that we have to hear it at night and in the day, and at night is from lechatchila, from Tzedek Kochavim, from nightfall. B'diavad already from Plag HaMincha, but lechatchila we wait till nightfall, and the entire night. We said until Alot HaShachar. And the next day as well. The next day the mitzvah begins at Netz, or b'diavad from Amud HaShachar, but lechatchila from Netz and onward, and it also exists the entire day. So meaning if a person, for whatever reason, is not able to get it done in the morning, he can get it done later in the day, and he can arrange himself, or he can find a place where they're reading it in the afternoon or later in the morning, and he can be able to fulfill the mitzvah of the Kriyat Megillah that way. There are a few things that we do during the Megillah. There's a few psukim, five psukim that we read, that the chazan pauses during the Megillah, and we, the kahal, chime in and we read it. We read it out loud, and then the chazan reads it again, mitoch haktav, from the Megillah. That's based on the different minhagim, different psukim. Also, there's another minhag that the Shulchan Aruch brings down in Tzaf Reish Sadi, in the Seif Tedvav that the 10 names of Haman and the word Aseret, it needs to be said with one breath. Why? To remember the fact that to commemorate the fact that they were all killed at the same second, and therefore they were all killed and hung at the same time, and that's why the Chazan should do that. If a Chazan is not able to do it, you're still Yotzeh. Let's say he has a short voice, he's not able to hold his breath for that long, he's still Yotzeh, but the Chatchila, that's what should be done. Again, another important thing is that we mentioned this yesterday, but to clarify it, is that a person, when he's following along with the Megillah, he should not be reading along, especially if he's not using a kosher Megillah. If he's using a Megillah Kshera, and he's very, very proficient, and he knows how to read without Nukudot, then if he wants, he can read along with the Chazan. But if he's not reading from Megillah Kshera, or he doesn't have, or he's not even if he is reading Megillah Kshera, but if he's using Megillah Kshera, but he doesn't know the words well, better to just rely on the Chazan and listen to the way he's reading it and just Shomea Keoneh the entire time. Unless the person's in a scenario like we spoke about yesterday, where he missed a word here, a word there, he can read it along and catch up. But besides that, even from Megillah Shelo Kshera, even from a printed Megillah, but in general, a person should just be focusing on following along and just focusing on the Hebrew words. Some people like to look at the story in the English, but that shouldn't be done during the Megillah, because you want to just make sure you're hearing every word. If you're going to start going to the Perushim, the English, the Rashi, or whatever else, you're not going to be able to stay focused on listening to the words. So it's very important. One more point, which is something that can happen if a person starts spacing out. So meaning he's here, he's technically in the room, he's there, but he starts spacing out. He starts thinking about other things during the Megillah. So I remember a bunch of years ago, when I was living in Eretz Yisrael, Rav Ophir Malka discussed this question, and he said, if a person is spacing out, if I remember correctly, I hope I'm quoting the right thing. If he says, if a person is spacing out to the effect that if you stop him and you tell him, where are we holding right now? And he has no idea. Somewhere, I don't know, like he's mamash so spaced out that he doesn't even know where the Chazan is holding, then that's already considered like he's out of the world, and he's not, like then he would have to make up quickly or hear the Megillah again if he missed those words, because he's not mamash, he's not there. His mind is elsewhere. He's technically sitting there. He's sitting there, but he's not there. But if he's just spacing out a little bit, but he's still able to follow along, and if you would stop him right now and ask him, where are we holding? And I'll tell you, we're holding here. Then that's still considered spacing in enough to be considered still Shomea Keoneh. So it's very important and a little bit difficult for a lot of us to do that, to be able to space in the entire time, but we have to do our best and try to make sure that we're staying focused during the entire Kriyat Megillah.